What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Logisticalstyles coming at you from the studio. And today we're just talking about streaming. And I know this is a very divisive topic amongst DJs. It's almost as divisive as, or it's becoming just as divisive as using sync or using other forms of technology that are provided to us by these softwares that come out with new updates and new features and stuff. And it always seems like there's a rift between the old school DJs and then the new school DJs, or maybe it's not even that. Maybe that might even not be the dividing line. Maybe it's like uh, open-minded DJs versus narrow-minded DJs, or um, technologically adept DJs versus DJs that are not good with computers or technology. But anyway, what I've been seeing a lot more lately, and this is mainly due to the update from a lot of the DJ software platforms, Serato, Virtual DJ, DJ Pro, well, anything that uses streaming, specifically Tidal, because Tidal has made some changes to the way they allow DJs to stream music and use that streaming music in their DJ performances. One of the big changes is they've removed the use of stems or neural mix. If you use DJ Pro, that's what they call their stems. But they've removed the use of it, and it's not the DJ software that made that decision. It's not uh, mainly, it might not even be Tidal that made the decision. Maybe it's the record labels that have to provide the music to Tidal. They're saying they don't want Tidal providing music to DJs and the software to be able to use stems. So for whatever reason, and that just caused a whole storm of backlash, and people started reaching and coming up with all these comments about, well, that's why you got to own your music, which I agree with. You should own the music that you want to play, or at least the majority of it. If you're a DJ, that means you like music. And I know it's a new time as far as how people consume music, but uh, anything I really like, I pretty much buy or um, find a way to have it in my possession so that it can't be taken away from me. And I've learned this. This is not even just a music thing, but even with like TV, movies, TV shows, stuff that you may want to watch. There was once upon a time where I'm a big Star Wars and Star Trek fan. And at once upon a time, you could watch all the old episodes of Star Trek on Netflix. And then suddenly they weren't there anymore. And you had to go to another streaming service, Paramount Plus, in order to be able to watch Star Trek. Um, I don't feel like I should have been enraged and felt like it was my privilege to always watch these shows on demand. Things changed. The subscription service changed. The content moved to another platform, and I lost that capability. However, if I actually own these shows on DVD or Blu-ray disc, I could pop them in and watch them anytime. And um, that's kind of like parallels what's happening in the DJ scene. The music that you like on a streaming service may not always be available to you. So you should be making plans for if that should ever happen, and not rely strictly on streaming. But now that brings me to another argument that has been brought up in the whole streaming debate, and that is people are always going to one extreme. They think that if you are streaming your music or you use a streaming platform, that means you have no music. And I think that's just ridiculous, and it makes no sense. It's very narrow-minded. Why does it have to be one or the other? I like streaming. I love using Tidal when it's available, and that'll be the next point that we get to. But when it's available, I love using Tidal for strange request, or when I get a playlist from a client and it has a whole bunch of music. Like these new request lists that I'm getting from clients can be 50 songs deep. You know, I'm a subcontractor, so I don't necessarily deal directly with the client beforehand. I speak with them maybe the week of the event to make sure all the details are there. But the client, they book through another company and they send long playlists with, and I've gotten all kinds of weddings. Some that are country, some that are alternative rock, some that are hard rock, even some of the urban events. I don't keep up with a lot of the newer music because most of my events like throwbacks, or they like um, that kind of middle of the road type stuff. So I don't always keep up with the latest rap music that comes out, especially if it's not like played on the radio or played in mainstream media. So streaming comes in, title specifically comes in really handy for me for that. But that doesn't mean I don't have music on my laptop or my iPad or even my iPhone, whatever I'm using to DJ with. It's just a backup plan. But you see all these arguments, and the first thing they say when you see these people talk about, or they're complaining because Tidal removed the use of stems, the next comment you see immediately is, well, buy your own music. Well, okay, I did buy my own music, so come up with something better. People have a right to complain about losing the ability to use stems, but at the same time, they should have prepared for what to do when stems isn't there or when Tidal isn't there. Because another thing that Tidal did was they removed the ability to use their streaming music alongside another platform. So if you're using Serato or using DJ Pro, they don't want you to be able to stream from Tidal on deck A and then on deck B stream from BeatSource or SoundCloud. And that is kind of uh, an odd request. I mean, like, Tidal knows they're not going to be the exclusive provider of music for DJs that use streaming. There are other streaming platforms. They should be aware of that. And to try to make it exclusive, that you can't mix and match tracks from, like, it's crazy. You could play This Is How We Do It on Deck A, stream from from Tidal, but they won't let you stream This Is How We Do It from BeatSource. It's the same song, it's just a different song file. But that's one of the things that we have to deal with streaming, and that's another reason why you should have music on your device that you're DJing with. I always remember being at an event. There was a festival that I was providing the sound system for, but I was not DJing. Um, and the DJ got there, and they strictly had streaming. They didn't have any music, and they were relying on a cell phone signal at that. So at one point during the event, they couldn't play. The song went off. It didn't cut off like the internet stopped and the song stopped playing, because that's not how streaming works. And if you use streaming, then you know that. But they couldn't play the next song. There was no song that came on afterwards because the signal dropped, and they had to kind of move around or wait to get a better reception in order to continue playing. And that's embarrassing. And I definitely don't recommend anybody put themselves in that situation. But I do recommend that people learn how streaming works. I've heard a lot of people say, well, what happens when the internet stops and your music just drops? It doesn't work like that. When you're streaming DJing music in your DJ platform, you load the song and you can watch the song load up. Once the song's loaded up, it's there. It's not going to stop playing because the internet stopped. Now, if you start playing before the song finishes loading, then that'll be a problem if the internet drops. But you have to know how to uh, the streaming works. And that's my biggest problem, I think, with streaming, or with DJs that have uh, these hard cut rules about what should and what should not be done. A lot of the times they're talking about technology that they've never used. Um, when you talk about streaming to some DJs, especially older DJs, and look at me, I'm an older DJ. I'm 48 years old, been DJing for a long time, but uh, you have to you have to be willing to experiment and learn how this stuff works. A lot of these DJs, you talk to them about streaming, and they're like, yeah, I used to use Spotify for songs I needed, or I use Tidal or Apple Music, whatever. And then you come and find out that they're just talking about using the actual app, the Spotify app or the Tidal or Apple Music app, and running a aux cord into their mixer. They're not talking about actually streaming using the feature built into the DJ platform, and they have no idea how it works. They think it works the same way as them using Tidal on their computer as the app or on their phone. And I really, I used to try to comment in these Facebook groups and try to correct some thinking, but now I don't even want to do that anymore, because I think for a lot of DJs, ignorance is bliss. You are happy, not you people, but these DJs are happy with what they've been doing. It's been working for them, and it may have been working for 40 years, and it may still be working for them in the clientele that they get based on their past 40 years of DJing. But there are other clients out there. There are other um, methods of DJing. There are other schools of thoughts. There's other techniques that do work and get great results. And there's DJs that's been working the same amount of time getting great results. So I think DJs need to be a little bit more open minded about what the other DJs doing. And it's just been getting really hard to be on social media, especially in all these DJ groups. I had to uh, leave a couple of Facebook groups based on DJs because it just got to be annoying. It was a lot of noise. You know, there was one group called Wedding DJs Helping Wedding DJs, and there was very little help actually happening in that group. I'm just going to call it out and say it. You know what I'm saying? I joined for maybe 2 months and watched, it might have been 2 or 3 months, and watched, the interaction. The conversations were interesting at first, but then after that first month, it got repetitive. It was the same conversation over and over again. And it was the same attitudes and the same egos talking about what you should never do, and there's no never. There's no never. When it comes to DJing, the only never really would be never not play music because that's the job, play music. But then even then, in an event, it might be a portion of the night where it's like, no, don't play music. So there's no hard cut rules for DJing, and it really gets hard when you have to, you try to go on, social media or whatever and discuss DJing with like-minded individuals, and then you realize that a lot of these people are not like-minded. They're closed-minded, narrow-minded, and uh, they are not open to another point of view. And I see that so much. And maybe it's because I'm DJing in the South, and maybe it's different for DJs in the West Coast or up in New York or wherever, even in the Midwest. But I'm in a lot of, Southern-based DJ groups, and the opinionated DJs are so loud. And I gotta tell you, if I was a new DJ now, I probably would not have stuck around quite as long because everybody is just so opinionated about everything. And I just seen streaming being the new hot topic. Sync is still there. Sync is still a topic, and I think that's funny because once again, it's people who don't use technology making decisions and opinions, very vocal opinions about this type of stuff. But yeah, this is just my little rant. I guess that's what it is. But uh, it probably wasn't a lot of educational stuff in this video, but I feel like, sometimes you just got to say something because it's very annoying to, see these comments from people that don't want to move forward with the times. They don't understand how new stuff works, and they refuse to learn how it works. They'll be more eager to talk about the doom and gloom of things. They'll talk you to death about how AI is going to come take your job. They'll talk you to death about all these other, topics about how hard it is to book, and you have to compete with the low budget DJs, and they're taking your money and they're making it hard. Y'all complain about that and talk about that all day, but um, I just want to change the conversation and be like, maybe spark an idea that maybe you should actually give it a try. Spend a day off. Right now, we're at the end of wedding season, end of holiday season. Christmas is less than a week away. So after this, it's going to be a little slow. Maybe New Year's parties will, be popping for those of you that you have New Year's gigs booked. But after that, January is pretty slow. January would be a great month to invest some time into learning the new features of the software that you use, or even old features that you've neglected. There are features that I have neglected for a long time. I didn't start using Flip until maybe a couple of years ago, and I don't use it a whole lot, but it took me a couple of years to figure out what that feature is and how it works. Same thing with scratch banks. So I just want to make this video. I probably talked too long as it is already, but please, DJs, open your minds up. Please stop being so divisive and stop bickering online about stuff that the next DJ is doing, especially when it does not affect you directly. You know, I'm gonna try to do a whole lot more videos right now because I've got a lot of free downtime, and it's just something I like to do. So this, I figured I would start it off with one of these type of videos, just a quick conversation piece, and uh, let's move on to the next topic. All right, let's just keep DJing. Hope y'all are learning, and thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching, and be in tune for the next video. Peace.